holy shit, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
You know, like I don't feel good. Like I got to get off this stupid like ketogenic diet that's just awful right now. Like, in fact, everyone get the hell out of my way because I'm doing this. Like, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And that, I feel like, kind of changed the trajectory of my life at that point. It's the whole rest of the world, and I'm like worried about my little problems back home. But like, it's just, this is amazing because I'm building my best body. I'm building my best self, my best mind. That's sexy.
Do you want to talk about the surgery or no? Before we get into this podcast, can you do me a massive favor and subscribe to this YouTube channel? Our goal here at Ignite Fit Life is to build the Bay Area's fittest community. And you're going to help me do that by subscribing to this channel. Enjoy the episode. Christina, welcome to the show.
What's up?
Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to be here and just like continue our chat that we had the other day and share a little bit about my story.
Of course, yeah. And that's what this whole podcast is about, because I'm super excited because we, you know, at HitFit, we've grown to get to know one another a lot more over the past few months than we have done in the last like 2 years, I suppose, or whatever, how long that you've been working at HitFit. And it's exactly why I wanted to get you onto the podcast as well, because we are very similar in what we want to do and what we have done in our careers. So I wanted to definitely expand on that as the podcast goes on. But how I like to start the podcast is always like your backstory, you know, where you grew up, what was life like for you growing up and stuff. So let's take it back to as far as you can and tell me about where you were born, where you grew up, and take it from there.
Yeah, so I was actually born here, right where we're seated, in San Francisco.
Right upstairs.
So grew up in the East Bay, and
let's move that a little bit closer to the that's perfect.
Here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So grew up in the East Bay and went to high school out there and was pretty athletic growing up. Played a lot of soccer. That was like my world. And my mom was a single parent for the most part. And so it's like my sister and I and my mom. So it was like us three, like solid for most of the time. And yeah, like I spent a lot of time, you know, like I was a pretty good student for the most part. And then soccer and, you know, my friend group was like pretty strong back then. And yeah, so there were some, I think, moments later on that got like challenging, but I would say more towards like senior year. I actually it was during a soccer game. I was playing forward at the time. I played a lot of forward or like defense, and I had the ball and I was like going towards the goal, and the goalie came out and she slid tackled, so we like collided into one another. And so I broke my tibia at 16, and that I feel like kind of changed the trajectory of my life at that point, because it was like soccer was my life and it was a huge part of my identity. And then when I couldn't do it anymore, and I was like, I was crushed because what happened? My leg was so swollen that they couldn't do anything for the first 3 days that after I broke my tibia. They couldn't do anything. So basically I was on meds for 3 days and they waited for the swelling to go down until that they could do surgery to stabilize my leg again. So I have a metal rod in my left leg. And after that, I took some time off, of course, because I had to. And then I recovered, and then I was back on the field. And I was just like, I just want to keep doing this. But going back, it was just something different about going back. Like I wasn't as fast. I wasn't performing the way I was before. So that kind of like affected me. I mean, that whole injury affected me emotionally too.
Sure, of course.
Yeah.
Did you feel like when you went back to the playing soccer at that time, was it, obviously the injury affected it, of course, did you feel like there was some fear around it happening again? What when you were playing like soccer, was it just one of those things where you weren't physically capable to do the things that you were able to do before?
Yeah, I think it was the second part, the not physically able to perform like how I was before. Yeah.
And what was that, like slower, or what was that exactly?
Yeah, like I wasn't fully recovered.
Okay.
I mean, I probably needed another like 6 months to a year, because I was like back on the field within 8 months.
You're like ready to get back after.
Yeah. Like I was just like excited to get back to like my life,
Sure.
and go back to school. And like even going back to school didn't feel the same,
Yep.
So
Really?
I felt, no, it didn't. I mean, some, relationship dynamics had changed too. And I think going through that at 16 was hard for me.
Yeah, it's a very young age for something to happen to you. Because I mean, okay, let's like take it back then to playing soccer. Okay, you're obviously good at soccer. This is your passion. You love doing it, and that injury happened. But prior to the injury, what was your goal set on like soccer? Was it something that you wanted to do as a career, like as a professional? Talk to me, like what's your mindset around that? Because obviously it affected you.
For sure. I didn't really like have career plans with soccer. I think it was just an outlet for me.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a huge outlet for me. It was a way for me to like kind of channel my energy, like, from a young age till like later on. Like I played from age 8 all the way to college. So it's been a huge part of my
again, identity.
Yeah, my identity, like my younger years. And so I think that like not having somewhere to channel like my emotion or my passion was like super difficult.
So there was a frustration behind going back to soccer and not being able to perform at your best. There was just this like frustration. And what did that lead to?
It actually led to me feeling like super discouraged, like for a moment there. And my mom, would see that like I just looked down, like I just wasn't the same. And it was really affecting me. So she was like, I'm going to send you to Guatemala. Like you need to go like stay with family, you and your uncle and your sister.
Oh, wow.
Go. And it was during, it's called Semana Santa, like Saints Week.
Okay.
It's around Easter, and they have like these huge like celebrations out there, and it's a big deal. And so I went out there at 16, and that was the first time I traveled out of the country, and I was like, wow, like we're like little ants on this planet. Like literally, like there's the whole rest of the world, and I'm like worried about my little problems back home, but like it's just, this is amazing, and like family that I had never met was like embracing my sister and I. And so it was really cool. And then I thought to myself, like, I never want to stop traveling. Like this is going to be part of like my life. And so I felt like that also changed me, like going back to school. I was like, I no longer just wanted to stay in a little bubble, in a little like circle. I wanted to expand my world at a young age. Like, so after that, I was like thinking, I didn't really know what I wanted to go to school for. So I had no plans on going to college right after high school. Instead, and like my life at home was a little chaotic at the time too. Like my mom was married to somebody that I just could not stand. And so I think that, was that was hard around senior year. And so I like made plans to move to New York. And I sold my car and like saved up money. And then a friend of mine, a good friend at the time, she also wanted to go and kind of get away from her situation at home too. So we ended up packing up our duffel bags, getting on Amtrak, and like spent 3 days like some hobos traveling across country.
I love that though.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, it wasn't easy, but we did it.
Yeah, that's funny because traveling is not what people make it out to be. It's like you're packing up all of everything, and then you're going. There's always this kind of these bumps in the road and lots of stuff that goes wrong and all that kind of stuff. But obviously at some point throughout that whole journey, there's a lot of fun moments and stuff. So you're like going from one life that you weren't necessarily happy with because you kind of wanted to step away from for a while to kind of give yourself a bit of breathing space, then to move to New York. And what was that like for you?
It was a lot of different things. Because, I mean, for one, the climate change, like we're used to like
it's
sunny
freezing
California,
down
you know, then you get out there and you're like, oh my God, this is like bone chilly. And it just makes everything feel like that more intense. You know, you got to bundle up, you got to run into places because we're spoiled out here with weather. We're not made out, at least I'm not made for it. But aside from that, taking me away from, you know, the environment that I'm used to, that I'm comfortable with, it really tested me and the friend group that I was around since like some of them since elementary, middle school, high school. So getting away from that like bubble and exploring, being away from my family, it really kind of tested who I am and like my strengths and what, you know, I was struggling at such a young age, 18 out of the house, like it was exciting. And I was like, man, I'm ready to just live my life. Like forget all of that chaos, like that I was kind of dealing with like at home. And I'm ready to like really live now.
Yeah. Again, that's what I mean by like talking to you, Christina, because not everything, but there's just so much we relate to because that bubble I 100% can relate to because I'm not trying to down talk anything. I was in my position back at home. I had my shit going on and I can't get into too much because I don't want to make anybody feel a certain way because you never know who's going to listen to this podcast. But there was just like a certain person that just destroyed everything around me. And I needed to get away from all that. And it really, like, not just get away, but literally like move. I tried everything at home in Ireland to make sure that I can try and become the best version of myself. I went down an extremely religious road. I tried CrossFit to try and like, you know, get away from all the bullshit that was like destroying me. And, you know, having my son, it was one of those situations where I was like, now he's here. Now I really got to dial in. But no matter what I did, I was just being dragged down, and not by my friends or anything like that. It was just a certain person. So I had to like move out of the country to really identify what the hell, because again, I always use this thing. It's like I packed up not just my clothes, but I also packed up all the emotional baggage that I was going through and brought it to me to San Francisco. And then at that point, I was like, now I understand as the years went on, all the stuff that's wrong. And I need to just like work on that kind of stuff as well. So again, we relate in those kind of areas. When you came to New York, then you started to maybe identify more about yourself and started to work on certain things. Talk more about that while you were there and how you kind of came about.
Yeah, for sure. So the first 4 months, like, I'm just going to be honest, it was a huge party. Like we were just going and exploring and just going to all these parties. And then towards the end of that, my friend at the time, she was like, because she kind of had ran away from home, but she was 18, so there was nothing that her family could do. But anyways, that's a whole nother can of worms that I'm not going to get into. But I knew that I wanted to stay. It was my idea to go out there, and I just wanted to explore because I didn't know what I wanted to do after high school. And I had went to New York my junior year as well. So I knew it was cool, and I was like, I'm ready to just like go on a journey. And so at 4 months, she decided that she was going to go back home. And I was like, oh shoot, it's about to get real. So she like left me in the middle of winter with like an apartment that we had furnished together. I mean, I had all of it. And then like for me to take over the rent, like it was just a lot of responsibility.
At a very young age.
Yeah, at a very young age. And I was like my first experience moving out of the house. So I was just trying to figure it all out. And I remember just being like so lost, like so confused. And I was just like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I don't want to go home. I knew I didn't want to go home. I was like, I want to stay out here. We had a flat in New Jersey. And so she just like got up and left, took all her stuff. Her family, like, anyways, came and it was a whole thing. But I was determined to stay. But I knew that I couldn't stay in that apartment because I just couldn't take on a huge responsibility like that. So I had a friend that was living in the Bronx, going to school, going to FIT. And she asked me if I wanted, I told her what happened. And she asked me if I wanted to come live with her. So I did. And then I found a job at a shoe store in Times Square and, just kind of tried making a life for myself for like the time being that I was there, even though wasn't really sure how long I was going to stay. But I ended up going to church with her, and she was going to a Christian church. And I remember just having so many questions too, like during the Bible.
So many questions.
Yeah, during Bible study, I'm like, well, why? Like, why do we believe? There were so many questions. And I think at 18, I just wasn't ready for it. But the church
so you weren't ready for like the religious route and trying to find that kind of side of things?
Yeah,
because you just had
kind of like lean into that at the time, even though it was like a really hard time, like just being all the way across the country without any of my family, any of my friends. Like I only had one friend out there, and she was going to church. So I'm like, I have nothing else to do. Like I'm going to go to church with you.
Sure.
And it was actually really cool because it was a performing arts church.
Okay.
And so that was like my first kind of exposure to like, to dance, like all the performing arts. And they were like people like playing piano, like all kinds of different art forms, which I got really inspired to start taking dance classes. So that's kind of when it started.
Okay.
Yeah.
And those dance classes, did they lead to this kind of dancing that you're doing now? Is it the Samba?
Samba.
Yeah.
So I didn't start taking dance classes right away. That came later. So I'm going to kind of like fast forward.
That's okay.
And like after being out in New York for a year, I was like, I need to go back to school. I just need to get back into school. And like, I'm done with this, like, this vacation, this long vacation or whatever it was. But I think I was like, I'm tired of like struggling like this. Like I want to go back home. I have more family there. It'll be a little bit easier for me to kind of get like going with school.
Okay.
Because if I would have stayed there and tried to do the whole thing, like you have to pay out-of-state fees and all that. So I came back. And when I came back here, it still wasn't working out at home. So I ended up moving to San Francisco and staying with my uncle. And then started taking classes at City College. And so that's where I started taking my first dance classes. It was an Afro-Haitian class. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. So taken from your situation in like New York, and then you're just like, look, it's not going to work out for me here. I'm going to move back to San Francisco or back home, and it's not working for you from here. I mean, I just want to know like the mentality of, because you're going through some stuff at that stage, but you're finding what it is that you want to do and moving directly towards that. Like, where are you getting the mindset to just like push forward? And like, you obviously don't like being in uncomfortable situations where you're not going to thrive, at least anyway.
Yeah.
So where is that coming from?
For sure. I think that just seeing my mom, as a single parent, just like really hold it down for us and like provide. Like she just made sure that we had like all the essentials, even though, she like struggled too. And I seen her struggle. I think that instilled some independence in me too. And then going to New York on my own, I was like, well, shoot, like I just stayed in New York for a year.
How does she do this with 2 kids?
Just kind of like, wow, that was a crazy experience. And it was a lot of different things, but I also learned a lot about how strong I am and how I can kind of navigate too. And so it was like me declaring my independence. Yeah, at 18, because it was like I said, it was tough. You're just
Yeah.
trying to make it. Like, you have no money, you know?
In one of the most expensive cities in America with no money.
Totally.
I get it though, but it definitely. I mean, again, same situation. When I first got here to San Francisco, I was living on a couch for 2 weeks, and my friend, and then like a week out of that, I didn't have any money, and 3 days I had no food.
Shit.
You know.
Yeah.
And one of the days when my friends came home, I was staying on his couch, and he doesn't know that I didn't have any food. They don't know that.
Yeah.
I'm not telling them. Probably gets in the way when you're younger, but you don't care. But then they came home with a bunch of food, went to bed, and I was like, well, I'm going to have what's here.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, fuck it, I have to because I'm starving here. I haven't had food in a while, but no money. Like,
Yeah.
so the very next day, it was just like, that's never going to happen again. You know, I'm not letting that happen again. I'm just going to grind it the fuck out to make sure that I'm never going to do that again.
Yeah.
So lo and behold, the next day, I was like the next day or 2 days later, I had a job waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning, ready to go and work in construction. So it births something out of you though.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what I'm trying to get at here. It's like, oh, you went through that. It's like, yeah, I'm delighted I went through that. As bad as it may seem at that moment, I have that image inside my head. It's like, but yeah, I went through that and I'm so happy that I did because it birthed something inside of me that I never would have, you know, gotten if I had came over here with 30 or 40 grand on my back burner.
Yeah, for sure.
Why would I have? I probably wouldn't even be here, to be honest with you. I'd probably be back at home.
Yeah.
Not having those like little things, not having that stuff has really helped me become a better person. But anyway, that's kind of my situation with that as well. So, I mean, again, on to you, you know?
I think that, you know, not having everything like provided for me, you know, especially like as I got older, was challenging, of course, but it also like forced me to make moves. And I just always kind of said to myself, like, I refuse to be defeated.
Love that.
By like these struggles, you know, and then more things would come up and you're like, how am I going to get through this now? But like, you just kind of find your way.
Yeah. Do you think, because, I mean, there was some stuff going on at home that you weren't really happy about. You know, you decided to, you know, move, and again, you went to New York, you even went to Guatemala, if I'm saying that correctly.
Yep.
Yeah. Again, and you've seen it there, but there's a lot of moving pieces, a lot of moving around, but you're finding strengths as you start to move around a little bit more, you know? Has like those little adventures and those moments, has it allowed you to kind of, you know, again, when you're on your own and you're doing your thing, are those little moments as well, did that birth something inside of you as well, the strength to kind of like, I don't want this, I'm going to move towards something better?
For sure. I think like, I always kind of feel like I want to continue to work harder, but like also smarter, so that I don't have to struggle. I don't have the same struggles. I always want to get better than I was the year before. Yeah. But I think financially, that's always been something that like I want, like financial stability.
Yeah. Don't we all?
What?
I said, don't we all?
Oh, I thought you said, don't yell.
I was like, no. Yeah, no. I was like, yeah, no, don't we all? You know, it's just that kind of financial stability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else?
That's all good, yeah. So like, let's take it from there. I mean, how long have you been coaching for now?
Yeah, so I've been coaching since 2017.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and I started at a big commercial gym.
Right. And at what point from, you know, going to college in City College?
And I went to state,
and then
state after.
Then you went to SS State. So you're moving through all this. At what point did it kind of click that you wanted to be a coach? Because were you studying anything physical in college? Physically related, fitness related?
Not physically related, no. So I went to school to be a teacher.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was a Spanish teacher.
Oh, nice.
For a couple of years here in San Francisco.
Yeah.
That was the hardest job of my life. I was like, I would get up at 6 a.m. and I wasn't a morning person back then. So I would call my mom. I'm like, Mom, this is when we had a better relationship. I was like, Mom, I am so tired. Like, I'm so dead right now. And she's like, Christina, those kids need you. And I'm like, no, I hate them. I'm like, I hate them. This is so hard. This sucks.
They don't listen to me. They just throw shit.
It was here in the Mission too.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So those kids had been together since kindergarten. So like, they had their
gonna get rowdy.
troop. Yeah. So they were like testing me left and right. And I was like a first year teacher. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like this is insane. I can't believe I went to school for this. But then, it was also, of course, very gratifying. Like we ended up, building community in the class and just a lot of trust. And there was a whole lot to establish, such as those things like the trust and the community before we could even get into the academics in the beginning of the year. But looking back on that, I have no regrets, even though I didn't continue with the teaching career, because I'm still teaching now. Just teaching
definitely.
adults.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like
they're
I
a little
can kind
easier.
of reach people. Oh, the kids are?
Yeah, no. Adults are a little, kids are a little bit rowdy for sure. But yeah, no, I mean,
They were 10-year-olds. Yeah. How old's your son?
12.
Okay.
So yeah, I can only imagine. A little bit different though, culturally, but yeah, I can understand that. And then you went on from teaching kids from college and stuff, and then what happened after you finished that job? What were you doing then?
So at the end, like of the school year, I was like, I just don't really see myself doing this. I got to move on.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, I'm going to go on a vacation and just reflect. So, because that's what I wanted to do. I was like, at the end of this school year, like, I'm out of here. I'm going to go take a vacation and visit some friends from study abroad in Spain and in Germany. So I did that. I left. And then when I came back, I was like going through a breakup. And so I was like, I'm just going to keep hitting the gym. That was the thing that was like one of the few things that was actually making me feel really good. And helped me to get through that breakup was going to the gym. And then the coaches that were working there started to get to know me or like notice me, like coming in all the time. And they're like, hey, Christina. And like, I'm just like, oh, I just want to get this workout in. I don't even talk to anybody. But then like I was going so much that they, we started forming relationships. And then the GM was like, what do you, like, you're in here all the time. You're fit. Like, what do you think about like becoming a coach? I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that. Like, I really don't know. And I thought about it. And then I was like, you know what? It doesn't hurt to try. So then like I went back and then I started doing personal training at Fitness SF. And I was like, actually a lot of fun.
What Fitness SF were you in?
What was it like?
But no, which one?
Soma.
I was there last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there last year.
I was long gone by then.
Yeah, I was there last year for a while. It was all right. It was a bit weird. But it was okay though.
Yeah.
They're pretty nice. And yeah, but anyway, but I was there as well now. So you do have, well, that's fun that you kind of just went into the gym. It's like, hey, do you want to do some personal training? That's awesome. The way they just kind of scouted you out like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think also too, cause like since I had played soccer at City College and we were working with like coaches and like trainers there, like during like the season on and off season, I had kind of like a glimpse of like working with a coach over there. That was like my first experience. And then, so it wasn't really far off of like what I knew or anything like that. So I was like, let me just try for myself and see how it goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. Awesome. And yeah, having that experience, obviously from other coaches and stuff like that, like kind of gave you a bit of a nudge to kind of go after it. Mm-hmm. And we'll come back to the career side of things in with coaching, because one of the things that I want to highlight is, you've had like a bodybuilding background, you've had your dance background. Mm-hmm. I mean, you've run a marathon before, correct?
Mm-hmm. Half marathon.
Okay, yeah, but running again. So let's go. Which one? Like, okay, and you obviously have the dancing as well. Mm-hmm. So you started your first Samba dancing in college.
Yeah, I was.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
doing carnival out here.
Talk to me about like that, because that's a huge part of your life.
Yeah, I love Samba.
Yeah.
It's been kind of on and off since like '07, so it's been
A long time.
yeah, it has been a long time. It's been nice. Samba for me is a way for me to kind of express myself through movement too, and also at the same time like learning about like Brazilian culture too. It's been like, I don't know, it's been nice just to learn something outside of my own culture, and to go to Rio a couple times already now, and to go in a group was just an amazing experience to be able to step out into, they call it the Samba Dromo, where it's like the huge samba like arena, and to dance samba like in front of like, I don't know, like thousands of people, like 100,000 people. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like that high. Like
Yeah.
even last year, I was a Musa last year. So like we were, and a friend of mine, you introduced the Samba school, you're in the front, and you're basically, it's a lot of freestyle. We didn't have, any choreographed dance.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was freestyle.
Wow.
But you like all eyes are on you. So like, even though it's a freestyle, you prepare,
Of course.
you're training for it up until you go.
Yeah.
So we had trained for like almost 4 months before we go out there. Yeah.
And what's some of the things that you've learned about yourself as a person doing Samba
Yeah.
over the years?
I think that one of the things that I've learned is like, it's more about like how, like your energy, like the energy that you bring, how you feel inside, how you connect to others in the culture. It's not so much about like, you got to look a certain way, because I had put that pressure on myself previously. Like, you just want to look the part, right? You just want to look amazing in your costumes. I mean, you're already showing a lot of skin. Like,
A lot.
so of course you don't want to look bad, but I think there's a fine line between looking good in your costume and like feeling good about yourself, and both of those things. So in other words, like when you put too much weight on like how you look, you want to like look a certain way, it kind of starts to take away. I mean, at least for me, it takes away from the appreciation that I have for my own body in its natural state.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And is there, I mean, to have to stand out in front of thousands of people in various different, you almost call it shows, you have to build up a lot of confidence and self-respect for yourself, or just, confidence in yourself.
For
Strength.
sure.
So
Absolutely.
that's obviously something that you have built.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of my confidence, honestly, like I've built through movement.
Yeah.
Because I like love to move my body and like build a strong body too. And like Samba is a lot of core, it's a lot of coordination. So like I said, like a lot goes into the training. But it's nice because it complements what I already do with strength training.
Yeah.
So I feel like that helps prepare me to do well out there.
Sure.
And then the other part that you said, was it like you're relaxed, the confidence part, that comes from like being like more kind of relaxed at the same time. Like you're presenting, you're performing, but like you also, like you want it to flow.
Yeah. Well, that's when rehearsal comes in and you're doing it consistently and building the habit and just tuning into your body, that when you get to that point in the big show, you know what you're doing and you have the confidence and able to provide that ability.
Right. It's like you're no longer thinking. It's like you're just
Flow state.
let it go, It's kind of like with the bodybuilding, like you do all this work during the prep, and then the day of you're like, all right, let's go. Like you're a butterfly, like it's just time to fly.
Let's talk about bodybuilding because the two of us can connect on that as well. I did bodybuilding. Probably, I think I might do another show next year. Possibly we have to see how things go because it takes up a lot of your time. But yeah, let's talk about bodybuilding.
Okay.
And when did that start for you? When did you just decide, I'm going to do some bodybuilding? I feel like you, okay, we'll go back to it now in a second, but I feel like you have these outlets as well. Your soccer was one. And then from that point on,
say that again.
Outlets like soccer was the first one.
Soccer, yes.
And then Samba, then moving into that. Would that be another kind of outlet for you as well? To kind of just like express yourself the way you want? And
bodybuilding?
Well, Samba first.
Absolutely.
Would that have been the exact same as well?
Yeah.
And just looking for that kind of like movement to kind of express yourself and all.
It allows me to lean into like my creative side.
I love that, yeah.
To let go.
Yeah.
And to connect with other people.
Cool. And then bodybuilding. Let's go into that then, because that's obviously in and around the same thing. You've got so much prep work. The journey up until the stage is what matters most in bodybuilding for sure. And let's talk about why you decided to do bodybuilding.
Yeah, I was pretty early on in my personal training career when I decided to do it. I was just kind of talking to like another like veteran coach, and I was like, I kind of want to do something big. Like I want to like keep building my body up. And he's like, well, have you, thought about doing a bodybuilding show? I'm like, no. And then I started looking up all these people online, and it was like, whoa, that looks so fun. I think I want to try. And I was like, I know it will make me a better coach. I just know it will, because then I'm going to have to transform my own body.
Love that.
So I just kind of jumped into it. And then I found a couple coaches to work with. One, he was, working with me, like with the training. So we were training twice a week. And then the other days I was doing my own. And then the other coach, she was helping me with the posing, which is super hard. That part.
Yeah, the posing is definitely, it's one of the main things.
Absolutely.
If you don't have your posing down, you're bye-bye.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you look at Arnold Schwarzenegger, when he went over to South Africa, the guy that he was with, his wife, not Arnold Schwarzenegger, but the guy that he went over with, he was Mr. Universe and one of the first ones. And he brought him over to South Africa I don't know. He said,
What's his name again?
I forget his name. I'm stuck on his name.
I've seen it in his documentary.
Yeah. But then his wife was the person who was a ballerina.
Okay.
And she taught him how to switch from one angle to the next in a pure flow state of just pure, like, I don't know, artistic movements. And that's what got Arnold to the top, was how he moved and transitioned from one pose to the next through like ballet.
Wow.
So it's like, it's an art form of itself, which I think is completely lost in bodybuilding today. I think they've anyway, we won't talk about that. It's a different conversation altogether, but I think that's lost anyway. But
which part though?
Just like the posing aspect of it and the flow state and, really getting in tune with your body and going from one position to the next pose with just pure...
Like with grace.
Thank you. I was looking for a word there, but with grace.
Yeah.
Because that's what he did. He just went from one pose and just switched over to the next one. And it was just absolute, just grace. And I just think that's lost in bodybuilding today. It's just this big juggernauts now trying to, to me, it's like, oh, okay. I don't personally like it. I do bodybuilding for the journey more than I do anything else. So let's talk about that. I mean, your journey from like starting bodybuilding to stepping on the stage, you had to learn so much in terms of posing, the diet, the training methodologies, the mindset, which is the biggest thing, the journey, the stuff you find out about yourself. So let's talk about that journey.
Yeah. I think for me, working with another coach that I knew, it made it familiar for me. And so I was like, okay, like I feel like I trust this person.
Okay, that's good.
Because had it been like a complete stranger, I'd been like a little bit more scared going into it. So that gave me a little bit of comfort. And then later on, as we got closer, I'm like, I really need to like focus on the nutrition aspect. And at that time I was like, I'm going to need some help with this. Like I got to get this down. So I found this lady at the time, because she was a bodybuilder, but she was also a doctor, a functional medicine doctor. And she's the one who helped me with the posing too. So she was all the things. Her and I worked together, and I did keto to prep for my show. And so I felt like my energy was like really high for like a lot of the prep, when normally it's the other way around. For a lot of people, they're like dead, but since my body was, running off of ketones a lot of time and just in that fat burning mode, I had too much energy. So it kind of affected my sleep too. Like at night, it was like I wasn't winding down as much. But I learned how to like adjust and kind of get in a little bit more food so that my body wasn't in that state before bed.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So like I did carb backloading. So like the carbs that I did have, it was like for dinner to help bring the cortisol down and help me to relax.
Okay.
Yeah. So I made it work, but keto was tough. It was.
Nobody likes the ketogenic diet. Does that? I mean, it's only for certain people. If you can adhere to it, then happy days. But it's quite. Just imagine eliminating every carbohydrate source.
Totally, especially when you love carbs too.
And you need to move.
Yeah.
you know? So yeah. And then just in terms of like the mindset, the journey mindset, moving up to, having to go through the keto diet and that kind of stuff. Oh, yeah. I mean, that must have just been a whole fucking challenge in itself.
It was, but I was like, nothing's going to get in my way. Like, in fact, everyone get the hell out of my way because I'm doing this. I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And the boyfriend I was with at the time wasn't really like being supportive as much. So that was like kind of an issue, but it was more towards like the end of prep. He's like, oh, I'm just so tired of you and like all this stuff with the prep that you got to do, like the meals, the training and everything that goes into it. And then I realized like, at the end, or like it was worth it. Like I loved the experience, but also some things needed to like just go back to normal afterward. Like I didn't want to make it a lifestyle, being a bodybuilder. I wanted the experience. I wanted to see what I could do in transforming my body to help me to be a better coach. But I didn't think of it like I want it to be a lifestyle.
It's a very difficult lifestyle to be into, especially for women, because you guys have your menstrual cycle, and when you get down to an extremely low body fat percentage, you go into amenorrhea, and then your period stops. And that happens to most women who get themselves down to, so it kind of messes some shit up.
Oh, totally.
Pretty aggressively. So I feel like men, all right, fair enough, our testosterone depletes because we lose body fat, and, our sex steroid hormones in terms of men and women deplete, and we lose our libido, and it can happen to women also. But I think that's the worst, and again, at least we kind of like get it back. But I just feel like you guys go through more than what men will go through for bodybuilding.
Yeah, interesting. It actually picked up my libido, and then it like ended up dropping it off like after, which is weird. But it makes sense if like there's so much hormonal like fluctuation too.
It's pretty aggressive.
Losing like my period for a little bit. Luckily it wasn't for too long, but like I was at 10% body fat. Like by the time I was like on stage, 10%.
Whoa, that's insane.
Yeah, that is insane. And so like just imagine like the rebound afterward.
You were just eating everything. Did you gain like 10 pounds immediately or what?
Okay, so I tried to keep the keto going for a little bit, like the first like month.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Wow.
Well, because you have to taper off. So I was
Fucking hell, I know. Yeah, you do have to taper off.
I kind of talked about this in a recent post, but at the end of my bodybuilding show, like I didn't have like the same coaches supporting me. So I didn't have a plan afterward. So that was like a serious mind fuck. Because I'm like, holy shit, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Like I don't feel good. Like, I got to get off this stupid, like, ketogenic diet that's just awful right now. And I didn't want to, like, balloon up either. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to gain so much weight if I don't do this right. But your body does what it does. And so I did get off of keto and then started to, like, gain weight, like, immediately. Like, I would say after the first month.
Yeah. I think the most amount of weight that I gained after a bodybuilding show was like 2 days, was like 15 pounds.
Shit. Yeah.
And that was like, as soon as the show was over, I went and ate ramen, and the sodium obviously just ballooned water weight.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was looking going, well, that wasn't good, but I didn't care. That didn't bother me. It was like my last one, and I knew I wasn't going to do one for a while. And I was just ready to eat food, because it gets to that point. But when you do the shows, like, those shows like have helped me out significantly, just in terms of my mental state, loads of different things. Because we'll go back a little bit real quick, but there was at one point where I was going through an extremely tough time because my best friend had passed away, and then I was completely derailing altogether for the first few months after his funeral. And then I woke up one morning, it was like New Year's Day, and I was just like, no, like I was just down and out after a heavy night of just like drinking and stuff. And then I realized like something has to change.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I got this email later on that day saying there's a competition on May, and called Mr. Santa Rosa, for instance. That's what it was called. And they were like saying, you should do it. And it was at that moment where I was like gripping onto the mattress, crying with just pure, I can't be doing this, to like later on that day, that's what I'm going to do to change. So it allowed me to focus on something. And then that bodybuilding journey up until winning the show as well.
Wow.
So I won the show, and I became Mr. Santa Rosa back in 2018 or 2019 or something like that. And it was just this whole transformation. And it took me a while to get away from all the bad habits. But bodybuilding in itself allowed me to realize the addictions that I've had and what I want to do with my life in the future. But also, again, the same as you, it allowed me to realize that how to be a better coach. Because if you're putting people under, because I used to, like, when I was in Ireland, I'd put people on extreme diets without even realizing that that's not what you're supposed to do. But when I came over here and realized, like, well, that's what happens when you go on an extreme diet. Oh, that's terrible. It's no wonder people put the weight back on after you coach them,
right?
Because they can't sustain it. So now I'm like, okay, now how am I supposed to help people lose weight sustainably so that they can completely chop it off, but keep it off in the most sustainable way possible, but you're still eating the foods that they want, but still being able to enjoy life.
Yeah.
How can I do that? And that's what bodybuilding birthed for me. And that's how I became so good at like helping people lose weight sustainably.
Yeah.
In the dark, there was some guy over the past 6 weeks who wanted my help, and I helped him lose 20 pounds in 6 weeks, but sustainably.
Wow.
Yeah, it was incredible. He only texted me the other day. He was like, I lost this amount. I was like, what? Great. But now he can up his calories now to 2,700 or whatever it is, and he can just maintain it now, and he won't gain the weight back. Yeah. That's the goal. And that's the stuff that I learned.
In that short amount of time.
Yeah, he kind of put it in though. He put the work in, He went a little bit aggressive, but he realized that, you have to do it sustainable, but he still went a little bit more aggressive because he had a goal. Anyway, it was a goal that he wanted to reach fast, and we did it, and it was great to see. Yeah. But he still did it sustainably to a point where where he won't put the weight back on. So yeah, it helps you be a better coach, and that's when I wanted to understand the science around nutrition, the science around training, and that's when I started doing. That's when I got my a nutrition certificate around science. So I wanted to learn more about the scientific aspect of how to. Nutrition and training and doing it correctly. And the hardest thing I found out about that was people don't want sustainability. People want results fast.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
When you're coaching them, it's like, oh, I'm not really losing weight. I've only lost like 5 pounds this month. It doesn't sell.
Which is good.
It's amazing, but it doesn't sell. And that was the hardest thing about it. So I was just, it kind of like, it was a difficult thing to kind of go, okay, here's the science, but it has to be sustainable. You got to give yourself a year to get into the best shape possible.
Yeah.
It doesn't sell. I'll get you into the best shape possible in 30 days. That's the difference. So I was like, you know what? I built up integrity around it. I was like, I don't care. I'm not just going to sell bullshit stuff.
Yeah.
And we're finally getting into a period in our coaching careers, or at least in today's world, post-COVID, a lot of people are actually finding, when I talk to them on the phone, they're like, I just want something more sustainable. I want something that I can adhere to long term. And it's like, you're hearing this, you're like, oh, it's a breath of fresh air. So we're finally getting into that stage in our careers where people are finally understanding that wellness and sustainability is more important than aggressive dieting.
Yeah, I think, you know, like with the internet being so saturated with like a lot of like fitness, like gimmicks and things like that, like for people to buy, and people are realizing that like they don't want that.
Yeah.
They want, you know, they want to feel and look their best.
Yeah.
I think just like going back to like the bodybuilding recovery portion real quick.
Go for it.
Was really eye-opening for me in terms of like looking at like myself as a whole, not just like, okay, like I just want to like look good, so I'm gonna like keep myself on a diet to go look good again after the show, after putting on the weight. It's like I need to feel good and I need to get myself back to health in order to look good. So my training style became more holistic, looking at the whole person, you know, and not so much of just like, okay, we're just going to get you looking good. I'm like, you got to feel good. You need to make some changes like with your lifestyle, right? And like cut out the excuses as far as like why you're not eating good or why you're not eating enough protein or like even fibrous veggies, whatever it is. We got to put in the work. And it's like training is one part of it, right? Nutrition, one part of it. Mindset, another part. And when I like kept showing up for myself, you know, to get through that period, like with that challenging period of like feeling like my hormones were all over the place, my gut health was wrecked, I gained 20 pounds, like, you know, you feel like crap. So I'm like, I'll do anything to feel good again and to get healthy.
Yeah.
So that was like one of the hardest things I've like had to overcome just because it was so new to me too.
Yeah.
But it also helped me to become more knowledgeable when it comes to like hormone balance and like also how important your gut health is, not only just for in terms of, you know, going to the bathroom every day, of course, but feeling good, like having good energy. And what else? There was another thing. Oh yeah. And like for fat burning too. Mm-hmm. Like I've done, you know, a lot of research on it. And that was one of the things that came up. It's like the more good bacteria, and this is in that book, Eat Smarter by Sean Stevenson, he talks about like the more good bacteria you have, you know, in your microbiome, the more like calories that you're going to burn. So like the more bad bacteria.
Do you feel like because your digestive system is like is working properly, that it allows for more?
It drives your metabolism.
Yeah, it just kind of increase your metabolism a little bit more. But if it's not working as sustainably, you're not going to burn as much calories, because then you might retain more fat mass because it's not working as it should.
Right.
Yeah. So if you get yourself in line a little bit more and have your digestive system working properly, like for instance, if you eat protein, a higher protein diet, you know, it takes your body longer to digest protein than any other macronutrient. So it not only does it help you stay satiated, it also helps you, you know, lose weight at a better rate as well. You know,
as long as you can digest it.
But that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So once it's like, that's what I'm saying here. So doing that digestion, once your body's digesting it properly, you will end up, you know, losing the weight that you need as well. Yeah. So that makes sense. You know, what's happening, folks? Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Just give me 60 seconds of your time and we'll get right back into it. Have you ever found it difficult to find the time throughout your busy schedule to work out or even be consistent with your workouts? Well, don't worry, folks. That's exactly why I designed the Inner Fire program. The Inner Fire program is a 60-day workout program. You've got 5 workouts a week, 2 strength, 2 HIIT, and 1 mobility session. These workouts are literally 30 minutes or less that you can do anywhere, in the gym, even at home, or even in your office if you wanted to. You'll become part of a community of like-minded individuals that will be there
to support you along the way so that you can become the best version of yourself. You will have the guidance of a coach and the support of the community to help you get you from where you are now to where you want to be. If this is something that you want to get involved in, folks, go to the link in the description, click it, and join now. You've got your first 7 days for free.
So it's good that you, again, learning all this kind of stuff, that you can apply it as a coach to, you know, your clients and stuff. So you mostly target, or at least with what you're trying to establish right now, is the Fit and Fabulous program. That's what
right. That's my
your
up and coming online fitness program.
So tell me about the Fit and Fabulous program and what it is that you're trying to teach women.
Yeah, so it's a strength training program that you can do, you know, from home. You can do it at the gym, and it's like having structure to follow, having a plan that's like tailored to the person, not just like a random workout that you're going to find online. So it's like training with me, but online. So it's a little different. I'm not going to be there with them, obviously, but there's going to be a community of women as well, where we meet every week. And then there's also guidance with the nutrition portion of it too. And then during those, going back to like the times, the community when we meet, you know, we discuss like nutrition, we go through like the challenges or like what people are doing well at, and the mindset piece too. And the accountability is going to be a part of that community, as well as like check-ins with my clients.
And why is that important to you?
It's important for me to uplift other women, to build strong bodies, to be healthy, to be happy, to connect, to find community with other people. I think it's easy to get lost in the sauce out here and just to kind of do things on your own. Well, I want to bring people together. I want to continue uplifting women. You know, I think that sometimes, you know, or maybe in the past, fitness was looked at like, I just want to work out to lose weight. And it's like, okay, let's shift that. While that might be true, maybe you want to lose fat, but you also want to build like a stronger, healthier body to have more of a quality life too, and to be happier. So I like just kind of thinking about those things too, because like, and I don't want to make it seem like aesthetics are not important to me, because they are, but it's not everything. I think that, especially nowadays, like people feel a little bit more isolated. They feel like, you know, life is so fast, especially here. It's expensive. We got to work a lot. So building that community, it does impact your health too. So I want to lean towards being more intentional, like with movement. So I'm doing this because I'm building my best body. I'm building my best self, my best mind. That's sexy.
Yeah, there you go. I love that.
Yeah.
So you are on the path of building yourself up and becoming the best version of yourself, which has, you know, over the past, I'm going to say a year, because I've noticed the huge changes in yourself over the past year, and it could be longer than that, but you know.
Why, thank you.
Yeah. No, yeah, it could be longer than that, but I've just noticed the changes, and it's great, you know, and we've really connected on that, you know, because, again, we're on the same path in terms of building up the community, knowing that fat loss is not everything. If you're not comfortable in how you look, that's understandable. We get that. But as you start to do the things that you enjoy physically, you know, it's easier for you to be able to get into the best shape that you want eventually. Fat loss is, you know, it's just a little thing that we all focus on the most, but really there's a bigger issue, you know?
Yeah, it's not that we're too fat, we're under-muscled.
Under-muscled, yeah, and there's definitely a bigger issue in terms of that. And again, just people's quality of life. Your quality of life is shit. You're not sleeping well. Your job has you stressed. There's loads of stuff going on in your relationship. There's other stuff going on, that's causing stresses and anxieties, which is leading you to the weight gain that you have. So it's like, that's why, but let's work on the quality of life. Let's work on building the community around others where we can share our stories and help one another and support one another. Along with that, improving our quality of life, such as doing things that's going to allow us to de-stress.
Also, too, like, it's always about the connection that you have with yourself.
Yeah.
Sometimes we can't keep up with like a certain thing that we're doing because we're not connecting to it. Like it doesn't mean anything to us, right? So, okay, I'm going to go to the gym like every day this week. You know, you go gung ho and then you fall off and you're like, I just can't keep up with that.
Yeah.
You know, but I think going back to like when we connect, we build a stronger connection to ourselves and think about why we want to do what we're doing, why we want to make a transformation, then there's purpose behind it. Then it can become sustainable. Mm-hmm. But if we're just like, you know, I just want to impress others, or I might be more respected if I look better. It's like, because I mean, that's a real thing too, you know, like in which we can talk about that as well. But the connection to yourself, I think that's key. I think that's really key in terms of like self-improvement and like just building your body and your mind up.
Sure. And all the stuff that you've done to help yourself improve, what are the key things that have helped you?
I think like having gone through, you know, some like hardships and like not giving up is something that I'm proud of, you know, and like just feeling like I can still like be a badass and I can still be going through something. I can still grow and still be working through something, you know, like that makes me, that has built confidence and resilience in me.
Okay, awesome. And what are you doing weekly or whatever? What have you done? What have you incorporated into your life that has helped you?
Yeah. One of the things that has happened like recently, required me to slow down from my normal routine of like strength training, like, you know, regularly, and then dancing regularly. Like I've had to really like tone it down. Like I'm doing body weight exercise right now until I get better, because I'm recovering from surgery. But it's also tested me like in terms of, okay, you can't do what you normally do. So now like you're being forced to slow down. Can you find peace within that? You know? So it's like, it's me being able to be okay and find, what is it? Instead of being like, let's go all the time, are you able to be in that moment? Are you able to bring your stress down and regulate your nervous system after, you know, having surgery? Because that puts a lot of stress on your body too. It's like going through 2 surgeries within like a year.
And where are you learning that? Like just to be present and slowing down? Is that just kind of a mindset that you adopted, or is this something that you do to kind of allow you to, you know, think like that?
Yeah.
Because it's a really good mindset to have.
Oh, thanks. I think that one of the hardest moments that it was like between my sister and I, like we didn't talk for 10 years and it was like really hard on like both of us and my family and everything. But during that time, during like, I don't know, year 9 or something, I was at SF State at the time, and different people were coming up to me talking to me about Buddhism, and I was just like, no, like I'm good. Like I don't need to go to a meeting. I'm fine. And then by the 4th time, like I was just like, I don't want to go. I don't want to open up, and I just didn't know anything about it. So I end up going to a meeting, and I was like, okay, this is interesting. Like I've actually heard the chant by this one singer, Tina Turner. She was chanting, and in this movie called What's Love Got to Do with It. She was saying Nam Myoho Renge Kyo over and over. And she was like in a really abusive relationship. But anyways, she started chanting, like she was going at it, and she ended up changing her life, getting out of that relationship and just kind of like rising to fame, like on her own. And like her whole story is inspirational. But going back to how that lines up with me, how Buddhism, that's how it came. I went to one meeting, and then after that, I just kind of had this curiosity for it, and I started chanting. And next thing you know, like the pandemic hits, and my sister and I are under the same roof. She was going through some things, and we end up coming together. And I was just seeing like my mom change, and like just everything around me was starting to change like in a positive way. And I was like, that was the first time that I've seen it really impact my life, and as well as other times too, where Buddhism is like continuously like kind of fueling me up.
So it's bringing like a positive aura into spaces.
It allows you to see yourself like honestly, like what is it? So even the things that you struggle with like will show up, and you have to confront it.
Yeah.
And get over it.
Yeah, confronting things is something that not an awful lot of people can do. I think most people run away from pain rather than actually just trying to embrace it. Well, you can embrace pain, but walk towards it and deal with the pain there and then, because when you do, you feel so much better afterwards. And not only that, but it allows you to build confidence, and understanding, bit of self-respect above yourself. Because when you run away from like difficult conversations, it's like one of the hardest things I've ever had to do was have a difficult conversation. I would run away from them. I would never have a hard...
You'd hit the hills or what?
Just would never have a difficult conversation. I hated them because I just didn't... I was more afraid of the outcome than I was the actual conversation.
Yeah.
And I've dealt with people my entire life where if you have a conversation, it's just backlash. So it creates that wall of like, I can't confront this person because if I do, there's going to be a negative outcome to it. And then I got to a point where I was just like, I don't give a fuck anymore.
Yeah.
There's judgment behind it. Don't care about judgment anymore. But again, it's building on that relationship. You had that relationship, and you have that, you're practicing Buddhism, and it's allowing you to see all that kind of stuff. And over the past year, what I've started to do, like even just having Samantha in my life, she definitely has made my life a lot more peaceful, because the life that I wanted to live is easier with her around because she supports it.
Yeah.
Which is why I don't drink anymore, obviously, and I don't do, lots of other things that would negatively impact our relationship. But one of the biggest things that I've done in the past year is start to build a relationship with God. And my life has since then become way better. Like I can see things a lot more clearly. Like little things happen every now and then that are more than just a coincidence. Even a dream that I had once to kind of like understand how to go in the direction that I want to go in. I had a dream one day and I woke up and it was just like, what the hell? And I've just gone in that direction, and it's just, everything has just been seamless since then. But I've also put a lot of trust, like a lot of belief and faith in God. And when I've done that, I started making promises to God about certain things that I don't want to do anymore. And when I started building the relationship up and start making promises, it's like, I don't do that because I made that promise with God. And I just don't do it anymore. Yeah. It's gone because I just don't want it in my life. And now that I've made that promise with God, I've now made the promise with Samantha. That, not that I've done the stuff while we were together, for instance, but it's like, I don't want to be that person for her neither. So again, it's like having that higher power to build a relationship with and learn from and work towards has changed my life. Like,
that's beautiful.
Like ever before. It's completely changed my life.
Yeah, it's so
positively.
Too.
And I'd be afraid to talk about this due to like judgment. Before I went down a religious road back at home, and I couldn't have got any more abuse from fucking people because of my situation. It was terrible, the stuff that people were saying because I was...
you went sober?
I was trying to be sober, but I was going down a religious road to try and be sober because I was dating a girl who, at the time, who was super religious, very God-fearing Christian girl. And yeah, I was going down her road and I was just getting annihilated by everybody around me. So again, I just got dragged into their kind of like environment again, but didn't care. I think it was just more judgments than anything. So now I just don't care about the judgment. If you want to judge me for me bettering myself, excuse me, but go fuck yourself.
Yeah, for sure. I I can agree, because like, you know, you go through like, especially as you get older, like you go through certain things that really, I don't know, like they really test you, they really affect you, and then you're like, damn, I got through that. Like,
Yeah.
none of this other shit matters. You know, these opinions, this like negative people around, like they just gotta go.
Yeah.
That all that needs to go. And like in recent times, like, you know, Cooper and I have kind of moved away from like negativity, negative people that were around, and we're so much better. Like our relationship has gotten a lot better.
Yeah. When we had dinner like a couple of weeks ago, you can really tell just, you know, the type of relationship that you guys have, you know. You guys seem to be in a really good position together and you're growing together. You guys are now engaged, so congratulations again on that.
Thank you. Yeah,
I'm glad that we were able to celebrate that together.
I forgot to wear my ring. I realized on the way here, I was like, nah, it's fine.
Yeah, Samantha never has a ring on now. I don't expect it, but it's there.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, no, it's awesome because, you know, going down the Buddhism road, and I know that Cooper is going down he has his religious road, but they're doing this same thing together, but in different paths, which is great.
Yeah, yeah. Like we go to church together.
That's
too,
good.
Like on Sundays, and I've always been a believer in God.
Yeah.
You know, I just, I also like, I'm also Buddhist. Like I also study Buddhism. So it's like, I don't feel like I need to choose.
That's
I know
good.
That there's one God. And so I respect other people's like beliefs too, you know?
Yeah. Amazing. I love that. Yeah, it's awesome. And then let's say, do you want to talk about the surgery or no? It's
what
up
do
to
you want to know about it?
Well, I mean, it's like, it's a big part of what your transition is like, you know, it's like, I feel like it's a part of you that you just decided, you know, I'm comfortable in my body. I'm happy with who I am. You know, it's like, I feel at some point you're like, I don't know, you know, I didn't need it in the first place. Obviously there was a shift in mindset.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's, if you want to talk about it, then that's cool. I'm like, you know, because there are a lot of women out there who would listen to the story itself and, you know, again, they understand. They will relate to it in so many ways. But again, totally up to you. You don't have to if you don't want to.
For sure. Yeah, I feel comfortable talking about it. So a while back, I'd gotten a breast augmentation, and I decided that, let me rewind a little bit. So during a actual therapy session, I was talking to my therapist at the time about like kind of like how I felt about my body, right? And I was like, you know, I just kind of want to look different in like my Samba costumes. I want to look different in my clothing and things like that. And it's important to me. And I don't know. I just want to have like fuller breasts and blah, blah, blah. So then she, you know, the conversation kind of kept going. And then she said, you know, well, Christina, have you ever thought about getting a, you know, like a breast augmentation? Like people in the fitness industry do it all the time. And I was like, you know what? No, I haven't really thought about it, but like, that's interesting. And we didn't really like dig deeper into like what I was feeling or how I felt about myself. Like it kind of, the conversation kind of turned, and then we were talking about, you know, the implants and stuff. So that's kind of how the initial idea started. The seed got planted at that moment, but I don't think it was her fault in any way for, you know, influencing my decision. But I decided to get the breast augmentation, and that surgery was like pretty major. I was like, man, so sore and just like trying to get back to work and do all the things, which I feel like I transitioned pretty well, but I was also limited in terms of what I could do. So any overhead things like pull-ups were just like not not there after getting that. You know, my push-ups weren't as strong, and I could still do them, but I wasn't performing like how I was before at the very least. And I didn't see myself getting better. So that was kind of like one of the things I didn't like, that it was impacting my lifestyle in terms of what I could do actively, you know. And
It's almost like the leg surgery, almost.
I know that this is going to be the last surgery, having an at-home birth. But what happened? So yeah, it was a whole thing getting the surgery done. Did I love the results? Love the results. The doctor did an amazing job, and I was like, yes, like I'm loving how I look, and you know, all the things. And then, you know, months down the line, like I just started getting like a lot of anxiety. Like it was bad. It was bad where I was, you know, what I was feeling and the intensity too. I was like kind of in a dark place. And I told Cooper, I was like, I need to go to the doctor. This is scary. And then I ended up going to primary care doctor. Not a whole lot to be said there. We did some blood work, but it wasn't a whole lot that they could say, you know? So then I was like, all right, I'm going to go to naturopathic doctors, see what they say. And I started working with her. I told her, you know, about like the surgery that I had gotten. And I was like kind of suspicious that it could be related because I don't feel good and not sure what's going on. My energy is shit. I had anxiety, couldn't sleep, all the things. So then we did a bunch of testing, and my gut health was affected by the surgery because, I mean, it started, like the symptoms started right after. My sleep was affected right after too. So I think that my body was having, you know, a new reaction to it. It was my immune system was being taxed too. So, you know, my workouts didn't feel as strong. And then, but the thing that stood out the most was that my anxiety was super high and I was feeling really like depressed. There were moments where I was feeling really depressed and I was still like working through it. I was still teaching class. I was still training clients, but I was like, really having to like dig into like what was going on with my health, you know, and going to appointments and trying to navigate that. And I ended up having, this is, I don't know if I want to go that far, but like basically my gut health was like,
Sure.
it was affected by it.
Okay.
Right. So then I went on this whole protocol and everything, but, and it got better. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe it wasn't that. Maybe it wasn't, you know, it's not the implants that's causing this. So, you know, I started to feel better. And then other things started to pop up, just like kind of like mystery, like illnesses here and there, like joint pain. And then the fatigue would come and go. And yeah, I mean, the list goes on. I'm just kind of naming a few, but I started doing research. I'm like, let me see if other women are like feeling this too, or if this is a thing. Because as far as I'm concerned, the doctors told me it's completely safe. You know, you can run over it with a car. It's not going to rupture type of thing. You're going to have them in for about 10 years. And so, you know, I did ask questions and I did talk to other women that have got them put in or that who have had them put in. And they said that they, you know, they were fine with them, blah, blah, blah. But I wasn't having that experience.
Okay.
And so I started doing research and joined a Facebook group. And there were a lot, like there are thousands of women that have breast implant illness out there with very, like all the same symptoms and more, you know? So I didn't want to get worse than what I already was. And I was like, you know what? I actually don't really feel good with them in anymore. Like, because of what it's doing to my body. And I don't want to get worse. Like, I love my life and I was kicking myself in the ass for getting it, because I was like, why did I even do this? Like, I didn't even need it. Like, it's not like I had nothing, you know? But the way that I was thinking of myself at the time, I was in a totally different place mentally. I didn't appreciate my body. I didn't, until my health was taken from me.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Take a sip.
Yeah, take your time.
So I feel like it's not until like those moments that you really learn to appreciate yourself.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, those difficulties for sure. I mean, I'm glad that now that you're in that position, you know, right now, you're in that mindset, shall I say, not position, but mindset, you know, where it's just like you full on appreciate yourself for who you are, you know, you're in that, and you're just thriving now to become the best version of yourself. And these are just, you know, if you just look back at your life, there's been so many just obstacles for you to overcome, and each obstacle has helped you grow stronger in different ways. And you know, again, this one here, and recognizing and listening to your body after you had got the surgery done, and knowing that there's something going on and finding out more, and then dealing with it.
Yeah.
And now you're in that position where you've dealt with it and everything's okay.
Yeah, you know, I'm about today. Yeah, it's been a month.
Okay.
Today marks 1 month
Okay.
from having,
Nice.
it's an explant surgery,
Okay.
which is becoming more and more of a thing now, because a lot of women are getting them removed.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy to look at somebody either online or wherever in the fitness space or somewhere that has got them done, and you're like, oh, they look great, you know, like it's going to look great for me too. But you never know how your body is going to respond to something foreign,
Yeah.
or what they're going through behind closed doors. Like, we don't know. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. It's everything looks great and for 5 seconds in front of your eye, you know, but you don't necessarily know what's going on behind closed doors. And the stuff that mostly women, because I think there's a lot of competition out there from women in general with each other. And I think that mostly women who'd go through some drastic changes to try and look a certain way, just due to maybe some like insecurity struggles and stuff like that as well, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you are creating a platform to bring women together to share this and help them feel confident in themselves.
Like real confidence.
Like real confidence, not like, yeah, exactly.
Not the one that's bought. But you know what, to each their own.
To each their own, for sure. Like, it is what it is. Some
own.
people don't get affected by it and it's great for the rest of their life, and other people will then struggle, but at least there are thousands of people out there who do struggle, and they will listen to your story, and they'll know, and it's an important message to get across.
Yeah, I will say it didn't give me more confidence having those in.
Okay.
It didn't. And then like the other day I was like on the treadmill, and then I kind of like glanced over in the mirror and I was like, damn, I was like, I love my body right now. Like, I actually feel more more feminine
Okay, I love
with
that.
those out. Isn't that crazy? Like,
Yeah,
you would
I
think
mean,
it's the other way.
yeah,
Going
yeah.
into it, I was like, I'm going to look more feminine or something. And then I'm like, no, I feel more connected to my body.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Yeah, like your natural body and like the way that you are is a straight gift. It is a gift, like who you are, you know? And I think being okay with who you are is just so beautiful, you know?
Absolutely.
And I think actually men gravitate towards that more, I mean, from what I hear, than, you know, than people that can't really be themselves.
Yeah.
And I didn't actually really feel like myself when I had those in. So.
But yeah, and I'm glad that you were able to
process.
get that surgery now, and you know, look at yourself in the way you've always wanted to see yourself, or at least see yourself now anyway, compared to what it was before. And that's
I mean, it
huge.
sucks that it took 2 surgeries to get there, but you know, we're
You
getting
got there. You know,
We're
you
getting
still have the
there.
rest of your life ahead of you, you know? You know, and you
Yeah.
got to that point. But like the thing is that it sparked something inside of not just it sparked something inside of you to help you get you to a mental state in which you're at right now. And now you want to use that to create a platform for other women
Yep.
to try and help or support. I don't know why I don't really like the word help, but support
Yep.
women towards accepting themselves for who they are and building a stronger, more confident body through lifting weights, nutrition,
That's
but
right.
also, a bunch of women coming together and just sharing their stories of like the struggles that they go through, because it's important.
Yeah, I think it's important for us to like come from a place of integrity.
Yeah.
Like always like honor yourself.
Yeah.
You know, like, and honestly, I haven't really felt like proud of the things that I've accomplished, or like even the hardships. Like I haven't wanted to share those until recently, because I'm like, you know what? Like I got through that. You know, like there were some parts of my life that were like tough, but I got through that and I'm like in a different space. And I mean, that's life, you know?
I was reading a book recently. It's called Outwitting the Devil. Mm-hmm. And part of the book was the devil doesn't want you to express your hardships to the world because it might help other people. The more you help others, the better life will be for a lot of other people.
Yeah.
So if you hide your if not insecurities, but if you hide your struggles, not only that's just going to eat away at you.
Yeah.
And if it eats away at you, then that's the devil doing its job.
Yeah.
So if you express yourself and talk more about your struggles and open up to people and let people know, then you will relate to more people than you think, because everybody has their own struggles and insecurities, etc. So what I say to you is congrats.
Thanks.
And being able to openly express yourself and coming on here and speaking about the stuff that you've gone through, and I'm sure that this is just a starting point for you, but you're doing something now that's going to allow other women to do the same, and it's going to be a ripple effect to helping not just 10 people, but it's going to take maybe 100 to thousands of people along the way. So that's amazing.
So,
No, it definitely will.
Thanks. Yeah, I know it will too. It just, everything takes time.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm learning too, is like being okay with that, being okay with like however long it takes.
Yeah.
But that was one of the things that are main reasons I wanted to share my story, was so that hopefully, I can impact somebody else, help them in terms of, if you're thinking about getting that done, like, just know that it affects everyone's body differently, even though it's not really recognized, like breast implant illness isn't recognized.
Mm-hmm.
At least you can hear from somebody else's experience around it, and getting on the other side of it is a challenge, but there's hope,
Yeah.
and I think it's a good way to also connect with other people when you can be honest and open, if you're willing to open yourself up.
Yeah.
My new mentor, he said that, that's part of healing too.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It's a scary one as well.
It totally is.
It's scary to kind of like express yourself and open up and talk about your situation just out of fear of judgment or whatever else. But when you realize, when you start doing it, maybe every now and then someone's going to be like, whatever, because they have their own thing that they would never, like, people would never do that. There's no way I would open up like that. And it's just like, well, it will benefit you. But there are way more people than not that will appreciate that in so many different ways. And then they will feel comfortable opening up about their situation too. So
sure.
Keep it up. Keep on your journey.
Thank you.
It's awesome.
I had a question for you too.
Go for it.
So like, like us women, like typically we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, like to look a certain way. And, especially like in the fitness industry, what is that like for men? Like, what is that experience like for men? Like in terms of like the expectations that, from society, or like the pressure that you guys put on yourself, like what does that look like for men?
I feel like, oh my God, everybody's different in this regard. it's hard for me to
But
answer
isn't
that.
like bigger better, like with men?
There is like, what I can say about this is like, it depends on your age. So when you're younger and you're a teenager and stuff like that, and maybe in your early 20s and stuff like that, being bigger is there's an ego around it. So it's more ego than anything. What I've noticed is that I had created a pretty bad ego growing up, because I lifted a lot and I used to get a lot of attention and stuff like that, and it just wasn't good. You know what I mean? So there's a lot more ego around it, but I don't think an awful lot of men are like, as you get older, I started to realize that men are more in tune with like congratulating you on your success of being as ripped as you are. Like lads will literally just go up and go, dude, you're in some fucking shape. That's awesome. But with genuinely, you know? So I just think it just depends on the age. I don't think I don't know. That's a really hard kind of question, because I've been in the industry, and I think that a lot of people, you know, if I can talk from a client's point of view, they're more motivated by seeing their trainer in a certain physical shape, and they want to look like that.
Yeah.
You know, and we all have our struggles and stuff as well, but they would rather, I'm not too sure what people are like, but they would rather be motivated by another guy to get into the best shape possible than, you know, than anything else. But yeah, it just depends on the person, and it depends on your age. You know, it's kind of difficult for me to kind of answer that question, because I've always been in the fitness industry, and every time I walked into the gym, I've always felt super confident, you know? So no matter who it is, people walking into the gym to feel kind of confident themselves to like work out and stuff takes a bit of time.
Yeah, I was just curious of like what that could look like for men, you know, like if you guys have any outside pressure. And I feel like you guys' pressure is different.
I don't think so. No, I think women have
performance.
Yeah, I think women have a lot more pressure than men do, to look a certain way or to feel a certain way. I don't think we're under too much pressure other than I think we have different societal pressures. I think men have different pressures than actually how they look. I don't think men care an awful lot about how they look, as long as they're staying physically active. I just think they might have different pressures, you know, in terms of just being a provider and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, I think that's where most of it comes from. So it all just depends on.
And attracting a mate though too, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you're single and you're overweight, it's going to be harder to find somebody that takes you seriously. And when you're in shape, it's a lot easier, I suppose, in that regard. So finding somebody is definitely difficult if you're not in the best shape. But I think women are more attracted to like a competent man. So if they see someone in shape, they obviously have like, well, this guy like obviously looks after himself, and he's obviously competent enough to like, you know, go to the gym and be consistent. And I think that's what they're more attracted to, in my opinion.
I feel like it used to be more about that. Yeah. And then like, as I gotten more experience in relationships, I'm like, yeah, I definitely want to be attracted to you, but like, you got to make me laugh. And then
for sure.
Yeah. And then just having your shit together is like really important.
Yeah. Cause if you have a job and you're doing well and you lift weights and, you know, you're not some addict of some kind where you're just kind of like blowing it out and just not being responsible.
Overall, like the energy though.
Yeah.
I think that was like the first thing that kind of stood out to me. Like with Cooper, I'm like, like it's just so easy to talk to him. You
just bounce off each other. Things are fun when he's around.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good though.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's definitely good. There was no like kind of rigidness or kind of like there's nothing difficult about him being around.
No, I mean, he was very persistent. And at first I wasn't sure because I was like, I don't know about your lifestyle, but this is my lifestyle. So I was like, I don't know. But then he was like, I'll help you, you know, build your website. I'm like, all right, we can make that happen. So then, you know, he kind of like smuggled his way in to help me with that. And like,
good job, Cooper.
Yeah, he did a good job.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Here we are, like 3.5 years later.
Yeah. Engaged and ready to go.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we got to finish it off.
Yep.
Yeah. But the one thing that I like to finish the podcast off with is a message for you to the audience. And it's more of like, what would you say to the audience now that would inspire them to, you know, just move maybe just look at themselves a little bit differently, like what would you say to somebody now?
Yeah, I think one of the things is like, look at your obstacles as an opportunity, you know, for growth, for you to make a transformation of some sort. But like sometimes we look at our problems like it's bringing me down, it's slowing me up. It's actually teaching you something. It's pushing you forward. If you can look at it like an opportunity, the result is going to be different. Your path is going to be different.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, one of the things
that's
is like out of that book again, the same book that I was reading, it tells you the same thing. The opportunity is birthed from, you know, like something negative that happens in your life. You know, there's always like if something extremely bad happens to you, there's always a seed of hope and opportunity. You just gotta like realize that life doesn't happen to me; it happens for me.
Yeah.
And when you can realize that it's like, okay, this is happening for a reason, and finding out what that seed is, and then working towards that seed and blossoming.
And you don't need to know what the reason is.
No.
Yeah, don't ask why.
Yeah. No, that's great though. You know, it's definitely a good message to give to people, and yeah, I'm sure it will inspire some others as well. You know, just like get after it and go for it.
Yeah, and the other thing is like be good with who you are right now.
Yeah.
Right? Like sometimes we want to be over there. Be like, not until I get over there, I'm going to feel good about myself and my life. It's like, no, like be good with who you are right now and sharing about it. Don't feel ashamed about like,
I love that.
where you came from or what you've been through. Like, no.
You would rather be in the best mental state now for when you get to that point. It's like
This is how you get there.
This is how you get there. It's like, I want to be the best version of myself now. Because when I achieve what I want to achieve, I'm going to be the best person ever when I achieve that goal.
Yep.
And the most important thing right now is just to be good with who you are now and focus on how you're going to do that.
Yeah.
Now.
It's like the journey is more important than the result.
It's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And bodybuilding will teach you that as well.
For sure.
Well, Christina, I have to say that was awesome. Thank you so much for coming on to the show. I mean, I wish I could go for longer, you know, but yeah, we'll do it again. But I really do appreciate you coming on today. It was awesome. I really do appreciate you sharing your story, you know. It'll definitely help an awful lot more people out there who listen into this, you know, and I hope that you continue to share your story with others because it will inspire an awful lot of women. And I love what you're doing with your program, and I know that it's going to affect and, you know, uplift and inspire a lot of women in the future.
Thanks so much. Yeah, I really admire the work that you do too, and like who you are, and like us getting to know each other better this year has been amazing. So
thank you. I appreciate that.